Hello and welcome. I'm Domina Della Pie, Mistress Sasha Storm. It is with much anxiety that I delve into this. It's fresh. I've just finished watching 2 videos. It's a channel I discovered on YouTube called The Tea, and I'm actually really loving it because all they do is serve the tea, and I don't think I will watch any more of the programming having to do with the subject matter of one formerly named Nature Boy. He now goes as Three God. He's now Three God. He's the God of all. He's our God. Well, not my God, but according to him, he believes that, it's just another black guy talking shit, all about the nonsense. And he's God. And, it's clearly a narcissistic personality disorder on display. So I was watching the first video, and it was about somebody named Malia. Malia was she had a problem. I don't know what it was, and they all surrounded her. It's like she couldn't have any privacy or space to talk to him about what it was bothering her. And instead of listening to her, and she was in some kind of not in the best moods, he pushed her. He literally physically pushed her. She fell back and fell down. That was around the stairs. I think she was headed up to her room to get away from all of these people surrounding her, because it's like nothing can happen in such an environment without everything being out there. This is, to me, it creates chaos and disorder, and who better to deliver it than this demon calling himself God? I find it so. He's always highly offensive, but that's the draw. Listen, man, I just watched this guy seduce 2 stupid bitches. Pardon my French. 2 women called, okay? He set himself up. He's surrounded by these 6 women or something, 3 of which will be vying to be his queen. And then he said, no, not queen, chiefess, because I'm a chief. And then he can't decide if he's a chief, if he's a god, if he's a goddess, because he's a bitch. But listen, man, this guy obviously is bisexual too. And those guys, the way the guys are, what he's done to them, first of all, he keeps giving them weed. They're all smoking weed. They're drinking wine. Who knows what else they're doing, right? So these people are never sober to begin with. So I cannot take people seriously who are never sober. He pushed her down, and it was recorded live. Everyone is watching from everywhere, including me. And I see this guy is abusive. And even on live, he cannot control his emotions. He cannot control his behavior. He cannot control himself. He cannot control his tone. He cannot control anything, but he's trying to control these people. And he has them doing this up, down, up, down. When he says up, they have to put their heads up. And when he says down, they have to put their heads down, like he's training dogs. And then when this Malia person left, apparently she walked out. Was she naked or something? And she was screaming. They said she screamed like a demon. And the neighbors come out inquiring what the hell is going on, because there's always a disturbance at this house since y'all moved in here. Since, this place has been quiet. It's a quiet neighborhood. We are all going to work, and we come home, we have to sleep, and we sleep at different times, so we need it to be quiet. And here, suddenly, there's loud music. We never used to have loud music. Well, niggas love their loud music, right? And then he's like, oh, I just came from Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico, everybody plays their music loud. And so, well, this is not Puerto Rico, okay? You're not even Puerto Rican. So don't speak for Puerto Ricans. And if that's the way Puerto Ricans live, good, I wouldn't want to be around that, There's a place. If I want to be in a loud place, I'll go to where, like there's clubs and such, right? But in a suburban neighborhood, the house is big enough that, listen, I just saw I tried to do a count of the number of people in that house. Oh my goodness. It's not a mansion. It's just a big house. And I counted, I tried to, there are at least 16 to 20 people. That's a lot of people in that house, even if it's a big house. They don't even seem to have a place where they can have like a living room, sitting room together. It's just, he's at a table and they are all around. It's bizarre. like they're sitting on stools or something. It's bizarre. But yet he's a god. And he's a chief. And so here, my big problem with these people, because I've been watching them for several years. I don't watch them like religiously to be like a fan following, but I am inquisitive and curious, and why not? It's something else to watch. And so I view this, and I'm always thinking to myself, look at these idiots. So many young, strong people are there, men and women, right? Or are they, maybe they are not men and women. They are males and females at this stage, right? And it never occurs to anyone to suggest that, hey, maybe we ought to get a property that we could work the land. We could grow some food. Because I see these idiots bringing in food, bags and boxes of produce, and so they can eat. And I thought, how about, because that's what God would do. God makes it that you are self-sufficient. He provides. God provides, right? He, she, it, they, them. Whatever God is to you, God provides. God is a provider. This little twerp is not providing anything but a penis that is diseased, infected, as well as, well, he's procreating because that's what God does, apparently. So he's being interviewed. I think it's somebody called Sonetter, and he says, I'm your God. What in the interview, he says such things as, I'm your God. Because I'm quoting these things, right? I'm your God. So when you're praying to God, you're praying to me. That's when I started to be bored, and I was actually yawning. I was yawning. We're only at 14 minutes in, and this is over an hour long. He says, and then that's where I realized what's happening. I realized why he's here now. Because he said, you crucified Nature Boy. Nature Boy was who he was originally, approximately 10 years ago. And he says, you crucified Nature Boy. I am his return. So Nature Boy returns and is now 3 God. And before Nature Boy, I believe he was named Elio or something like that. He was homeless. He started out homeless. And it appears that he is still homeless because he's renting again yet another property from Costa Rica to Puerto Rico. And now wherever they are, it looked like suburban somewhere, possibly in the US, but I'm not certain. But anyway, it's like he is surrounded with these youthful black people who appear to have some skills, but they have no self-esteem. Otherwise, they would not be there. It's so sad because they've been sold it's an illusion. There is no happiness. These people are not happy, you see. So they play loud music on a whim. Whenever he'll say, oh, put the music on, he'll just, he feels like loud music, put the music on, then turn it up. It's him. It's by his direction, the volume of the music, how loud he wants it and how long he wants it, loud or not. And so that is affecting the sleep patterns of the neighbors who are not happy and are threatening to have to call the police, which they don't really want to do. So this guy goes and walks out to the net. But you see, the girl, he pushed her down. She was upset. She says, give me my stuff. I'm leaving. She wants her passport and her ID. And he doesn't give her ID. He gives her the passport, pretends to give the ID, but he slips it in his pocket or wherever. So he's playing games, right? That's narcissistic, typical part of their program, right? Is to make you think you're losing your mind, to lie to you, to play games, always playing games. And this guy, he says he's obviously over the age of 39. He's over the age of 40, right? He's in his 40s. But he keeps saying that he's 36 or 39, depending on who he's talking to. But he says he's been 36 or 39 for the past 6 years. Ah, boy. So he's been banned. They're banned on Twitter. So they got a new tweet page. See, if I'm banned somewhere, I will not return. So that's how, again, they're like the virus, they're like the bacteria, they are just like flies, mosquitoes. They are just not serving any real positive purpose here. So what I could see from the interaction with them and him, he makes them nervous, he makes them anxious, he makes them feel uncomfortable. Plus, he have them smoking weed. So they're already feeling nervous, anxious, and uncomfortable. Then he has them smoking weed that makes you feel even more so. It makes you a little paranoid, right? And then he'll say, why are you looking at me? Why you're weird, you're so strange, creepy, how you're staring at me, all of you staring at me. Like, he demands that they look at him, and when they look at him, he comes on with this nonsense. Why are they staring at him? Because he knows it's weird that they're all staring at him, but they have to stare at him because he orders them to stare at him. This is some sick, manipulated MFer, and I don't know why he is still around manipulating these people, but I'll tell you how and why. Many of us come from backgrounds of abuse in childhood trauma, and these have not been resolved. So we are in various states of progress along this journey of life, and many people are still affected by the events that occurred in their childhood. So they are open to influence. There are people who are more forceful in their personalities. They are more dominant personas, and they will take over the weaker people, the weaker-minded people, and people who even love them, adore them, perhaps admire them, want to be like them. And it's like, why would you want to be like someone who is so tyrannical, right? So like I said, why isn't he going to a property? They have a big yard. They have all this, space where you could grow food, even in planters. Start to grow some things, so you can have fresh things. This makes sense to me. You're going from plantation to plantation, and you're not planting anything but creating more babies with women who are going to leave you, because that's what happens when you have a woman. You grooming her to be your queen or priestess or whatever the heck is, chiefess, and then you're starting to flirt with a new woman right in front of them all, even there. So these women are calling on the line. I watched him seduce 2 women. It was pathetic. It was sick. And I understand it because I'd been there before. Sometimes when women have not been with a man for some time, and some guy starts to be very flirtatious, but he's doing it in such a seductive manner. It's almost like he's manipulating you physically through the phone with his voice and with his picture. He's using magic on you. They don't even realize, wow, suddenly their nipples are erect, their coochies are wet, throbbing. They're looking at him. He's sending them He's sending them the elixir through the phone. Energetically, he's stimulating them sexually, and they are responding to that stimuli. And all they see is, yeah, he's a god, because all they care about is they want to have sex with him. But I don't know if they've not noticed, this guy is going for young girls that he can manipulate and control. But just because he's manipulating and controlling you sexually, because you're not aware of what is going on, when you snap out of it, trust me, you will want his head on a platter, and you will probably provide it yourself. So he has the group in unison. They are chanting. They are doing their incantation. So basically, he's begging. He's begging for donations. In unison, they say, donate $3, donate $3, donate $3. Can you imagine? This is what they're spending their time doing, begging you to donate $3. Donate, then they open the lines for the callers to call in. And the God, he's opening all these new accounts because he's been banned various places, and he's making a comeback because Nature Boy was attacked and brought down, and so he's reincarnated as 3 God. It's just insane what's going on in the world today with these so-called men who want women to follow them, and they will lead you into polygamy and treat you like garbage. You see, you're just there to give another child because perhaps he looks at your bone structure. He talked about this. He's very vain and conceited. It's sad to see so many of these we need to be men and they're nothing more than bitch boys. So he's a loose cannon. He's immature. He's got that pimp energy. He's a conqueror, certainly. He's got the bisexual vibes. And then he says to this woman who is a caller on this show, he says, "Are you going to call me later?" And she's like, "I will." She sounds like her panties already off, you know. And he was feeling so proud of himself for having made this woman caller on the phone just become so seduced by his voice and his image. He said, "Are you looking at my picture? You're looking at my picture, aren't you?" Like he knows that, what he's doing, because he's done it many times before. So sexual magic using voice, visuals, posturing. "I am your creator," he says, "and I've come here to bring heaven on earth. But first, there must be chaos." And that is what he is. He is chaos. He is chaotic. He's got all these women and men. These are minds still impressionable. And this is what I think what he's doing actually is teaching them how not to be. By being so close to him, they can see what a monster he is. They can see how sickening he is. And many times you don't have a place to go. You don't want to go home to your family. You don't want to go home to your mothers or your fathers. You don't want to. So you stick around in these toxic environments. You stay with these sick people, these people who need to see a psychiatrist, a psychologist, who need to sit with themselves and get inside and get in touch with God. Humble yourself. Before you can be God, you must serve God. You see? Just because you are what you say, a king, a chief, and everybody must up, down, up, down. This is not how God would never do that. We want to serve God of our own free will. Not be coerced, not be forced, not be drugged, not be manipulated. It must come from love. And with this group, there is no love. I don't see any love. And that's very sad to see. We need more love in these black groups, black nations, black communities. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, comment or not. It's all good. This was just me viewing critically this formerly known as Nature Boy, now calling himself Three God. More blasphemy of the black male. They all need it. Listen, I got banned for saying that some man needed a BEATING.